Hey guys, and welcome back to Franchise Nation. I'm your host, Moonlightswami, and today I am bringing you guys the league recap for the end of the regular season for season number 2 of the New Orleans Saints franchise. We're going to be taking a look at stats, standings, awards, and then the playoffs moving forward. So first and foremost, we have the Seattle Seahawks, who are the number 1 seed. Our victory over the Panthers in Week 17 gave them the 2 seed. That's actually pretty important. But we're going to run it down by conference. First, we'll start with the AFC. The Patriots are the 1 seed, followed by the Colts. The Broncos and Steelers won their divisions. Texans and Jaguars, 3 teams at 10-6 or better in the AFC South. Never thought I would see the day. Bills at 9-6-1. They did beat us, but they didn't end up making the playoffs. Bengals 9-7, Chargers 8-7-1, Raiders 8-7-1. And then the Chiefs at 4-12. Well, it might be the end of Andy Reid in Kansas City. It's about time. On to NFC. It's the Seahawks followed by the Panthers. Then the Packers are the 3 seed. The Saints and the Falcons both at 11-5. So 3 teams in the NFC South with 11-5 or better record. The Falcons at 11-5. The fact that we won is important because otherwise we'd be the 6th seed. The Giants at 9-6-1 make the playoffs, and that's who we have to face in the postseason, but we'll get to that in a minute. So the Falcons have to head on the road to Green Bay, and we have to head on the road to MetLife. Bears and Cowboys 8-8. Cardinals, Eagles, Buccaneers, and 49ers round that out. Alright, starting things off for the coaches, we have 2 Black Monday firings. It's John Harbaugh and Dirk Koetter. The 3-13 Buccaneers are cuttering ways with their head coach, and Harbaugh has been fired in Baltimore. For the awards, Cam Newton, despite his performance in Week 17, wins his 2nd league MVP. Brady and Roethlisberger right behind him. Dalton, Wilson, Luck, Matt Ryan, Rakeem Blackman made the list, but he didn't win it. Coach of the Year goes to Thomas Pitta, first-year coach for the Green Bay Packers, followed by Ron Rivera, Sean Payton, Dan Quinn, and then ourselves. I don't know why we are below Dan Quinn, but well, screw you too, whoever voted. And why is Pete Carroll down there? They have the best record in the league. Whatever. We'll run through AFC quickly. Ben Roethlisberger, 1 offensive player. Brandon Marshall, defensive. Offensive rookie is Brody Cochran, followed by Jarvis Cochran, then Barry Raymond, Shad Lansana, Hartsock. Okay. Defensive, it's Markeith Ridley, followed by Frank Esponda, Kason Brown, David Snead, Thomas Lamour, Dimitri McCown, Oholate, Malik Bowie, Le'Veon Charles, Marion Drayton. Roethlisberger, best QB. Le'Veon Bell, best running back. Best wide receiver, Antonio Brown. Wow. Offensive line is Yonda, Muhort, DeCastro. D-line, Khalil Mack, Watt, Richardson, Hakeem Ayers, Sue Bosa, Joe Volano. Justin Houston, best linebacker, followed by Brandon Marshall, Jamie Collins, Jerry Hughes. Best DB is Chris Harris Jr., followed by Revis. Hey! Sean Smith, Gilmore, Vontae Davis, Jude Ajay Barama. And then best kicker is Josh Lambo. On to the NFC. Offensive player of the year is Cam Newton. Rakeem Blackman finished 3rd. Defensive player of the year, Rolando McClain, Jake Ryan, Daniels. Anyone from our team on the list? No. Best quarterback, or offensive rookie of the year is Rakeem Blackman, followed by Darren Lane, then Kent Clements, Darian Strickland, Keenan Hines. Joey Shatley made the list despite, playing only 4 games. Shad Houston and John Hastings are 1 and 2 for defensive rookie of the year. Garrick Favors, Fangupo, Rudolph, etc. Best QB is Matt Ryan, followed by Wilson, Eli, Rogers, then Newton. Best running back is clearly Rakeem Blackman. Best wide receiver, Dez, Julio, then Kent Clements, Doxson, Odell. Best O-line, Teron Armstead winning that award. Did not expect that. He had his ups and downs, but I think he had a pretty good season overall. On to best defensive line, Daniels, Graham, Hayes, Sharif Floyd, Cameron Jordan. Best linebackers. Don't know how you can't include Chad Houston and John Hastings, but they chose not to. Best defensive backs. Well, you know, nobody from us. Norman wins it. He had 11 interceptions. And then best kicker is obviously Will Lutz. If there's a best punter award, it would go to Javier Moran. We're going to quickly run through our team stats, and then we're going to get to the league stats. So Ripkowski, 2,200 yards, 13 touchdowns, 11 picks at 60% so far in 9 games played. He's been all right for an undrafted free agent rookie. He's been good for that. Raheem Blackman, 337, 1,700 yards, 16 touchdowns, 33 broken tackles. Mark Ingram, 60 for 398 and 3 scores as well. Good change of pace back. Daniel Lasco getting a few carries. Kent Clemens, 75 for 1,400 yards, 8 touchdowns. Michael Thomas, 71 for 877 and 5. Willie Snead, 39 for 616 and 3. We had no stability at tight end. DeMarcus Edens, Josh Hill, Alawale, Craig Stevens, etc., all getting receptions. Only a few guys played 16. I mean, 4 out of the 5 offensive linemen played 16. But sacks, Teron Armstead allowed 7 in 1,000 snaps. Hugh Thornton 6, Stuvance 3, but Stuvance had a lot of penalties. Hugh Thornton was decent for us, not great. He was a good stopgap, though, as we allowed our young offensive linemen to grow. Shad Houston, despite missing the second half of Week 16 and Week 17 completely, 141 tackles and 21 tackles for a loss. Von Bell, 118, Hastings, 112, Cam Jordan, 104 tackles for a defensive end. I don't know how he didn't get best defensive lineman. 14 and a half sacks, 14 tackles for a loss, and 104 tackles. That's absurd. Tackles for a loss, obviously. Stephon Anthony got in there a lot, too. Cameron Jordan, Dominique Easley, Onyemata, Sanchez McNeil, 4.0. Sacks department. Delvin Breaux, 3. Bell, 2. DeJohn Smith, 2. Deflections, 5 for Bell, 5 for Vaccaro, 5 for Sanchez McNeil. Forced fumbles, 5 for Kenny Vaccaro, 3 for Houston, 3 for Easley. Fumble recoveries, 3 for Houston, 3 for Jordan. Safeties, we had a lot of those. 4, Shad Houston, Hastings, Anthony, and Kruger. And touchdowns, we had 2, Houston and Hastings. Field goals. Lutz, 35 for 37, 1 block, 1 miss, 2 blocked PATs. Just phenomenal season. And Javier Moran, 2,800 yards on punts. Decent net average. 30 punts inside the 20, though. He was really, really quite excellent. Kick return, Adam Humphries, 1 touchdown. D'Adrian Vick and Humphries both pretty impressive. And punt return, it was really solid work across the board. All right, quickly running this down. Brady led the league in passer yards, 4,995. Roethlisberger, Dalton, Luck. Don't know how Luck didn't win MVP. He was really quite impressive. Touchdowns, it's Roethlisberger, Ryan, Luck, Brady, Dalton, Eli, Paxton Lynch. Harris Camden, 22 touchdowns and 9 interceptions. He must have had a lot of rushing touchdowns to get that. Otherwise, this is rigged. Completion percentage, for anyone who threw any real amount of passes, Russell Wilson, 70%, Brady, 69, Roethlisberger, 69, Newton, etc. Yards per attempt, that goes to Ben Roethlisberger, 9.6. He was sacked 44 times, Winston, 66. Wow. No. Some of these guys have been sacked a lot. Rushing, Rakeem Blackman won by 413 yards. Almost didn't have the most carries in the league. Shane Vereen was right there with him. Thomas Rawls over 300 as well. Touchdowns goes to Blackman. Yeldon came up close but couldn't get there. Fumbles, I believe Trey Mason leads the way. Yep. Roethlisberger, Lansana, Terrell Presley, Shady, James White, Jarvis Cochran, all there. Broken tackles. Okay, so Blackman fell off a little bit there, but yards after contact, he's the best, obviously. Played a lot of downs, not the most. Receiving, Gronk, 110 receptions. Antonio Brown, 104. How about yards? AB. Then Kent Clemens finished second in receiving yards. I did not expect that. Hopkins, Odell, Dez, Gronk, Doxson. Touchdowns, AB, Dez, Devin Smith, Gronk, Julio. There's Kent Clemens with 8 in his rookie season out of UAB. Sacks allowed, 32 for Taylor Deckers, 27 for Greg Robinson, 26 for Sean Shaughnessy, 25 for Marcus Gilbert, 24 for Flowers, 20 for Veldheer, 20 for Khalil. Defense. So Shad Houston finishes 5th in tackles despite not playing a game and a half. That's sad. Eldon Smith, Deion Buchanan, DeAndre Levy. Tackles for a loss. Sue, 32, Dan Williams, 24. We'll break it down into individual. I think they fixed that this year, but just to be safe. Wilkerson, Poe, Hayward, Wolf. Houston, Hastings, Hankins, Donald, Brockers, Buckner. Yeah. Sacks. Mike Daniels, 19. 18 for Graham, 14.5 for Hayes, 14.5 for Jordan, 14 for Floyd, 14 for Vernon, 11.5 for Easley. 22.5 for Khalil Mack, 16.5 for Houston. I think that's a record we're going to check in a minute. 10 interceptions for Chris Harris Jr., 9 for Revis, 8 for Sean Smith. NFC, 11 for Norman. Never did get over that threshold. I guess they stopped throwing at him wisely. And we're not going to show the rest of it. It's not important. So let's take a look at that record real quick, and then we're going to take a look at the playoff matchups. Okay, so Khalil Mack technically didn't break the record that Jamie Collins set last season with 23 sacks. He ends at 22.5, so he ends up right there. So he'd probably be right here with Michael Strahan towards the top, 22.5. Nobody came close. Rushing touchdowns, nobody came close. So that was it for awards. Here are your playoff matchups for Wild Card Weekend. Jaguars at Broncos, Falcons at Packers, Texans at Steelers, and Saints at Giants. We're going to take a look at these 8 teams to see if there are any injuries going in before we end this episode. So, obviously, we're without Joey Shatley, we're without Garrett Grayson, we're without Chad Houston, we're also without Xavier Gooden, who broke his ribs in Week 17. Things just kind of snowballing at that middle linebacker position. Damon Harrison, Sterling Shepard, and Raheem Moore are the 3 injuries for the Giants. In the Packers versus Falcons matchup, Eddie Lacy's out, Balaga's out, Morgan Burnett, Sam Shields, and Giorgio Newberry. And for the Falcons, Vic Beasley, Grady Jarrett, Ryan Schrader, and Sebastian Vollmer are out. For the Jaguars versus Broncos, no Rashad Green, no Malik Jackson, no Miles Jack, and no Roy Miller III. And for the Broncos, no Emmanuel Sanders and no TJ Ward. Lastly, we have the Steelers, who are without Marquise Pouncey, and they are taking on, I believe, the Texans without Jalen Strong, Brock Osweiler, or Lamar Miller. Let me just double check that matchup. Yeah, Texans at Steelers. So let's see who their starting quarterback is. All right, looks like Austin Davis is going to be leading the way against Big Ben and the Steelers. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm Moonlightswami, and I'll be talking to you guys later. Peace out, Franchise Nation.